Right, so I'm up quite early this morning. I've not got up for the sunrise. Good job really, because I've missed it and I hate getting up early. I've come out really for the lights before it goes horrible this afternoon. The weather forecast isn't looking great. So I've headed out to a place called the Wrekin, which is less than 10 miles from home. And we're going to see what we can find. So it's a bit of a trek up there, but I've got everything I need, including my cup of tea. Can't go anywhere without a cup of tea, so I'm going to head off and see what I can find. So I've taken a bit of a walk up the Wrekin and I've come across this spot. I'm really happy with it. It may not look much in the camera at the moment, but that's because the camera is zoomed right out and all the bluebells are looking quite sporadic. Once I zoom into that and I start to compress everything within the scene, it's going to bring those bluebells together and we're going to see a lot more excuse me, within the frame. There's a bit of a hike up here and the light's not looking fantastic. It's a bit overcast. But I'll tell you what, I'm not bothered about that. In fact, I'm quite happy. I'm not having to use any filters to get rid of any harsh light. The colours of the bluebells are going to show fantastic under this light, so I'm really happy with that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up my camera. I'll zoom this in for you so you can have a look at the scene and how much better it looks once it's compressed. So we'll do that now for you. As I start to zoom that in, you can see how it starts to bring all the bluebells together. And what I'm really happy about is that this is on a bit of a hill and the hill is going away from me, so all those trees in the background are dropping down behind my bluebells, which looks great. I'm not having to put up with the tree stumps at the bottom, which really seem to clutter the scene up. So the only one I've got is this one on the left hand side, which looks great with the moss growing up it at the bottom, and it's leaning into my frame perfect. So I'm really happy with that. So I'm going to set up my camera now and I'll get a few photos. Right, so I've got everything set up within my scene. Like I said, I don't need any filters. It's quite overcast, so the scene's really nicely balanced. I've focused in on the carpet of bluebells at the bottom, and I've got a shutter speed of 1 second, f-stop of f11 because I want to keep everything quite sharp within the frame. And I've popped this on a 2-second timer just to reduce any camera shake. And everything's all framed up, and I get my shot. And I'm really happy with that. Using a zoom lens like I have on here, I've used the Fuji 50 to 230mm lens. So I've really managed to compress everything within that scene and it's looking great. Now one thing you can do yourself is to play with the different angles. I'm quite low here as I really want these as part of my, form a big part of my foreground. So I'm quite low, but playing at different angles you can get some very different shots. And like I said, it's overcast at the moment, but bluebells are pretty good for shooting at any time of the day. Overcast like this is perfect, like I said, not having to use any filters at all, and it's really nice. If I was to come out midday, in that midday sun, I could maybe get the sun behind a tree and create some nice shadow within the shot. Colour of the bluebells might start to change a little bit, but I could live with that. Or I could come out in the late evening sun when it's starting to get the light's starting to get a lot warmer, and again that's going to change the colour slightly of the bluebells. It's going to give you more of a purple hue to them, so they're not going to quite look as natural as they should, but again it's really nice light for going to shoot them in, so you really can do this at any time of the day and you don't get any more quintessential English than a Woodland filled with bluebells. I'm going to pack up my gear, I'm going to head off, see what else we can find. You know, one thing I can tell you is it's not difficult to find these bluebells. Excuse me, I'm knackered wandering up that hill. It's not difficult to find these bluebells at all, they're everywhere. But what is proving a challenge is finding a good composition. These woods are just so messy and chaotic that trying to find something that's just simple and works is turning out to be a nightmare. But that doesn't mean we stop. I've wandered up a little bit further. As you can tell, I'm more out of breath, and behind me I found this big clearing full of bluebells, and there's some nice overhanging trees, and there's some interest that's going to help make these photos. It's still very cluttered, but I'm sure with a bit of perseverance I can find a shot or two in there, so we're going to give it a go anyway. Right, so I've scouted round for about half an hour and I've found my next location, and this is looking really nice. I'm on a bit of a slope and I've got thousands of bluebells here. It's still quite overcast, so again no need for filters, so again I'm happy about that. There's a nice branch coming over the top with some green foliage on, so I'm all set up to go, and this time I'm shooting at f14 and I've got a 3-second exposure. I've set that up on manual focused and focused about a third of the way into the scene. Try and keep it sharp all throughout. I've got a 2-second timer on, so I'm ready to take my shot. And that is cool. Really happy with that, really happy. You know, I think the key to this is perseverance. You know, I could have headed out today and really struggled for a little while to find a composition and gone home, but I haven't. I've persevered, I've stayed out, and it has been well worth it. I think in this little area I could probably find a couple more shots, which I think I might try and do. While I do this, you can head off home and I'll meet you at the computer to edit in Photoshop. Right, so I've got home, I've loaded my images up onto the computer and I've had a quick look at them, and I must say I'm quite excited about this one. It's definitely my favourite from this morning. Now I've opened it into Adobe Camera Raw, so I shot the original photo in RAW as well, which I suggest you do the same, as it gives you a bit more scope over your editing. Now it's looking very flat, so it's going to need a little bit of work doing to it. So first thing I'm going to start off with is my white balance. Now I could flick through the presets, see what auto looks like. Closer, daylight is too far off, cloudy, that's looking a lot better. I think you could probably just do with pushing the magentas up a little bit. I think I'll get somewhere close to what I'm looking for. That's looking quite nice. So the colours are getting there. Right, going to have a look at the exposure. I think I just need to push the exposure slightly up. I'm going to come to around about plus. Yeah, around about there. And going to have a look at my contrast. I'm going to add too much into it, around about 5 with my contrast. That's good. Now I'm going to have a look at the shadows. I'm going to bring my shadows down. I'm going to bring them down quite a way, and this is where it really starts to give the image some pop. So I'm going to come down to around about 55 to 60. That's looking good there. And I'm also going to come to my whites, and I'm going to drop those right down as well. I'm going to go down to almost minus 100, I think. Yeah, it's looking good. So around about minus 90. I'm going to have a look at my blacks. I'm going to brighten my blacks ever so slightly. Not too much. That's good. Now obviously I'm doing this to my taste, and with your own images you'll be doing it to your own taste too. I'm not saying this is the right way to edit your pictures, but it's the way that I like, and it's a way that suits the pictures that I do, I think. So this is the reason I edit them like this. So my clarity slider I'm going to push up quite a lot. I'm going to go up to around about plus 50. That's looking awesome. And I'm also going to have a look at the vibrance, just pushing that up just a little bit. I'm not going to go too far, so it starts to get some life. Brilliant, really happy with that. And I'm going to come across and sort my sharpening out. Push it up just a little bit, around about 50. I'm really happy with that. That's looking really good. So I'm going to open my image, so it opens into Photoshop. Right, so that's opened into Photoshop. Now I'm going to do what I do with nearly all of my landscapes, and I'm first going to have a look at my levels. I'm going to click on the level adjustments, and I'm going to start off with my blacks. I always like to make those a little bit darker, and this is going to give my pictures some contrast and a bit of pop. There's already a little there, but I just want to boost that a little bit. So I'm going to put 10, and I'm going to come across to my whites, and I'm going to go down by about 10 on my whites. So I'm going to change that for 245. That's looking really good. If I toggle that on and off, you can see that's just taken away a little bit of the haze and just added a little bit of contrast into there. So I can close that. Now you could have a look at your curves, so just doing a curves adjustment. You could probably do with coming up ever so slightly. That's nice. Not added a lot into that, and again I'm just clicking it on and off just to see what it's done. And that's nice. Happy with that. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the bottom, and I'm going to click on the adjustments. I'm going to come up to my hue and saturation. Sorry, not hue and saturation. My colour balance. There we are. Right, first thing I'm going to do on here is I'm going to go through the sliders just in the mid-tone section, and I'm going to push the top one slightly to the right. I'm not going to go too far. Don't add any blue in there, make it look too cold. I'm not going to go too far at all. Around about there. And then going to add a little bit of magenta into the shot. Again, not overly too much. I'm just going to about -3 there. And then I'm going to come down to the yellow slider. Bring that slightly to the left as well. Just add a bit more warmth into the shot. This is a springtime shot, so. And that, for me, that's pretty awesome. You can see the colour adjustments just made there, and I am over the moon with that. I don't want to crop it or anything. I think it looks good as it is. So right, I'm going to save that now. So I'm going to come down to my background layer. I'm going to right click on my background layer. I'm going to click flatten image. I'm going to come across to file and save as, and you're going to save your photo to wherever you like on your computer. What I would suggest is that you don't delete your RAW file. Keep your RAW file with your JPEG. It may be something you want to come back and edit in the future. If you're anything like me, I'll be happy with this image for about 20 minutes, and then I'll look at it and I think, no, that needs something else doing to it, or I've gone too far with this and I want to have a look at it again. So always keep your RAW file along with your JPEG, and you've always got the option of re-editing it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe to our channel for future videos, and we'll see you next week. Ta-ta for now.